AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
Proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! Mic in the room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Authors with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. For the fight, to the end. We are the MisFitNation. No damn labels, no damn chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit way. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. It's Aubrey right now. We're the more than you know. 9888, don't walk alone. Veterans press one, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We are the misfit nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fire, from the fight to the end. We are the misfit nation. Every voice is vindication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong. You belong. You belong. Oh wait, you. Oh wait, you belong.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation. It's your Thursday after dinner edition. A cold Thursday for many people in the South, the Northeast, Midwest, hell, most of the country, unless you live in Arizona or West right now, or maybe Hawaii. We are thawing out. Our roads are still crap, but we're surviving. We have that resilience. We have that fight, that grit to get through this and stay and do it together. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for collecting your freaking flyer miles and being part of the Misfit Nation. Tonight we have a great guest. We met through mutual love of advocating for veterans and helping our community. So it's great to finally get him on here. He's talked a lot about coming on the show in the past. Finally, I threw that hook out there and hooked him on there. And he's coming in from a warmer state, I guess we'd call it. So today on the Misfit Nation, we welcome United States Army veteran. That's right, another Army veteran, Manny Vera. He served over a decade as a military police officer and has continued his mission of service through mental health advocacy and leadership development. Now, as a regional manager with the Travis Manion Foundation, he brings a powerful perspective on learning, connection, and purpose beyond that uniform we wear. So without further ado, let's welcome in Manny Vera. Welcome, Manny.
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
It's great to have you here. Like I said, it took us a while to get you in here. We talked about it a lot. You said, I got to get on that show, Finally threw that hook at you, and you bit. So you can't turn back now. So thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, and here I am.
Outstanding. As you know, I just gave the basic 37-second elevator pitch about you right there. I want you to go as far back as you want to tell us where Manny came from and how he got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks, Rich, for having this space for us to come tell our story. I was born in Ecuador originally, so I'm immigrated to the United States around 4 or 5 years of age. I grew up in South Florida with my father, so we just kind of grew up together, Central Florida, and then I moved to Jacksonville, where I consider my hometown, like around middle school. So I ended up staying here and enlisted at 17. So for me, it was easy. It was, at that time, the country was at war. And I feel like every young person at that time felt like it was a calling to serve in uniform. And for me, being an immigrant and living the American dream, like having opportunities that I wouldn't otherwise have had I stayed in Ecuador, for me, it was easy. It's like, I need to give back to the country that gave my dad and myself the opportunity to be here. So 17, decided to raise my right hand and go right in. I had a lovely, close to 10 years in the service. Loved everything that I did. No, I was not that MP that would pull someone over for going 2 miles over the speed limit. However, it was great, man. Like as a private, scanning IDs at the gate, just medial tasks like everybody, like coming into the service. Had amazing leaders, NCOs that people I look up to, I still stay in contact with. Moved up the ranks, became a patrol supervisor, a team leader, squad leader, worked in law enforcement ops, S3, the place that everyone loves to go to. So yeah, man, loved my career, and got out. And this will be my 4th year out of the service. And with that, it's kind of scary when you take off that uniform. It's like, man, like, what am I going to do? What's that next thing for me? And, I started working for a startup nonprofit working in mental health. And for me, losing many friends to suicide, it just seemed like a natural fit. It's like, okay, if I could make a difference in this space, like, I'm going to go ahead and do said thing. So I became a certified peer in the state of Florida, meeting those veterans and first responders that were at crisis, the ones that dialed 988 press 1. I was that person on the other line trying to de-escalate and share resources with them. And being in Jacksonville, one of our largest resources here is Wounded Warrior Project. And through working with them, I came across opportunity with Travis Manion Foundation, ironically, with the person that we both know, Chris. So I was on the podcast prior to him. And so I follow up on the same podcast. Shout out to Vet SOS and Sean Welsh, and Chris was on it. He was talking about Travis Manion Foundation. And, me being in the advocacy space, like, I need to look for resources. Like, what is this TMF? Like, I have no idea who they are. And I just happened to see that they were hiring. So, here we are 2 years later, the rest is history. So, just love the journey, especially, but, it has its ups and downs, but you got to admire the journey and meeting all the people on that journey as well. Like you, like Chris, like so many other people that I've been blessed to be a part of my life.
Well, definitely. And Sean Welsh, great man, Vet SOS podcast. We're together on Heroes Media Group as well. Awesome dude. I was on his show probably around the same time as both of you. And we've stayed in touch since then, since we're in the network together. And he does a lot of great things. He's now a nonprofit as well with his podcast. Mm-hmm. So he's doing amazing things. And that, for your service, I mean, you went from Ecuador to Florida, 2 nice warm climates. And then to be an MP, you had to go to Fort Lost in the Woods. How was that shocking off for you?
During the winter too, man. Like, so, being somebody from, like you said, like tropical climates, never seen snow ever in my life. And we're over there low crawling in snow. And so it was a culture shock for me. Like, whoa, what is this thing? And like, over there, training doesn't stop if it's snowing. It's like more encouraged. It's like, you're going to go out there and stuff. But what I realized very early on is that you're not doing anything by yourself. Right. You're doing it next to your battle buddies, to your brother and sister, to your left and right. So like, it's a collective thing. So, I got over that real quick because, lucky me, I got stationed in Germany right after. So I experienced the winter over there, got stationed in Colorado. So I got the winter there. So I lived in the Midwest, Kansas and Missouri. So I got the full experience in my time in the Army when it comes to snow. So, I'm happy to be back in Florida.
Yeah, they definitely got you with all the winter places. You definitely stayed above the Mason-Dixon line the whole time you're in your career.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you have a lot of cold weather gear probably stocked up that you don't have to use anymore unless you travel up to visit any of us. So that's outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And of all those cold destinations and duty stations, what would you say was your favorite one, and which one was not so great?
I would say Germany, hands down. I don't think I've met a soldier or anybody that's in the service has that been to Germany and said that that's not their favorite place. Like, I was there during the World Cup. I'm a big soccer guy, being from Ecuador. So naturally, like, going to the games out there and how, like, the rivalries, like, these guys are like throwing rocks at each other across the stands because that's just like the rivalry out there. So to me, like, I felt like I fitted right in. Again, like I said, phenomenal leaders and NCOs that kind of, really paved the trajectory for my service out there. So loved it. And least favorite, I don't think this would be surprising, but it was Leavenworth, Kansas.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, not the it serves its purpose, but if you're specifically if you're an enlisted person on that base, it's kind of like you're a minority because it's just run by field grade officers, right? So yeah, that's I would say that's my least favorite. And obviously I did some time on staff there, and who loves their time on staff, really. So
yeah, there's a field grade heavy location, field grade heavy or felon heavy location at Fort Leavenworth.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah.
So you have those two options, and it gets very bitter cold at Fort Leavenworth because you have the river that goes right through there. It's very historical, the town of Leavenworth, but to hang out there more than once, it's probably going to go downhill pretty quickly. You have to travel either into Kansas City proper or go over to Lawrence, maybe hang out to college or something to
I love
maybe
Kansas
see
City.
something different. Yeah.
Kansas City was great. Like I was there when they won the Super Bowl the first time in 2020. So it's like it was great during that time. But like you said, like the weather and the base itself, it's like
It gets pretty
good golf course.
cold. Good golf course.
Good golf course. I would say that. I would say a good golf course.
And that comes back to that field grade stuff. They have to have their golf course and a time to, mix and mingle out there on the links. And then after you got out, you still felt that need, that desire to serve. But like all of us, we get out, we don't know what to do with our hands. When we get out, we throw them boots over the wire. You went to CRPS, and explain a little more about that certified peer stuff, because a lot of veterans don't understand what that is. They think it's some certifiable thing, but what does that do? Are you an intermediary? What are you?
Yeah, so it's a credential for non-clinical intervention when it comes to the mental health, the substance abuse, the suicide prevention arena, right? So it basically credentials you to see the signs, know how to de-escalate, know how to create SMART goals for the person that or individual that you're working with. You're very aware and understanding of some of the mental health ecosystem, especially with veterans, right? So off the bat, like a lot of us, we have that PTSD that comes out with us for our time in service, right? And that when you mix in substance abuse with that, you kind of see the ways that certain people operate because of those said things. So you're able to navigate that. So the CRPS training it took me almost a year to get credentialed. Okay. So you gotta have 250 hours of face to face with somebody, individual hours, your non-direct hours. You take a statewide exam for it. So it's a very robust system. So anybody that is interested in that, every state has their own individual offering of this credential. So for anybody looking to, Tennessee, they have one, Florida, they have one. So anybody looking to navigate that, the best advice I give is if you're in the military, right, and you were a leader and you had a soldier come to you with certain issues, right, and you needed to, take that knee, be down on their level, listen to what they're saying, you're being a peer in that moment. Yep. Right. So for me, once I learned that and learned oh man, being a squad leader, I had multiple soldiers with things going on so many fronts. Right. So I had to really sit down here, what kind of resource can I get what kind of SMART goals can I develop for them so they could, kind of get out of that hard spot. Right. So for me, that's peer work in the gist right there.
And you referenced earlier about being on the other end of that call for 988. A lot of veterans don't want to call that. They think if they call that, everything's going to go downhill for them because the man or big brother will be watching them. Can you bust that myth for them that 988 is not the I'm going to tell on you thing? It's the I'm going to help you thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the common myth is that if you dial that number, you're seen as you're weak, that you're, you don't fit in, you're that anchor to your team, and it's the complete opposite. I would say that it takes so much courage and bravery for you to step out and really say hey man, I have some issues. I got to take a knee right now. Can you please just listen to me? And a lot of times it was just guys needing to vent, and gals as well. They just needed to get it out, develop some SMART goals for them, make sure that they're safe. And then after that, some of them just really needed that 1 hour conversation, right? Or some of them just need to attend a group setting and kind of talk openly in a public forum with other people that get it. And, a lot of them are okay with that because, again, we're non-clinical, right? Now, are there some people that obviously need that extra layer of care and they need that clinical intervention? Absolutely. But when you have a peer that advocates for you and that understands saying hey man, for me, I've been there. I know what you're going through. We could get out of this together because nothing can be done by yourself. So I would say that it takes so much courage and bravery for somebody to say hey, I need help right now.
Definitely. And I think a lot of our brothers and sisters, they had that weird feeling that if they call that, something bad will happen to them. Like you said, they feel weak, or maybe the man will come and take their weapons away from them because they called that number, or X will happen at their job. And to hear you say that won't happen, hopefully they're listening and we reach one, teach one, and maybe it has that domino effect and goes down the line and everyone understands that, hey, that number's there to help people. And we had one of our co-hosts, Jake. I was there with him when someone that he knows very dearly had to call that number and it helped them. And he's a strong advocate for it now. So it helps to have advocates like him and then someone like you who has been that voice of calm on the other end of that call to help people understand that it is a good thing. It's not that thing that's going to kill you. It's the thing that's to keep you with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, 1,000%.
And then you said you got to get certified in your state. Is there reciprocity? If, like, say you were in Florida, you took the test, and you moved to Tennessee, is there reciprocity so you can do it here, or you have to retake the test?
No, so every state works a little bit different. There is some level of reciprocity there, but like I said, like, for example, in Florida, there's certain nuanced things. Like for here, if you have to do a welfare check, right, it's named or has a code here for it. And in Tennessee, it might be different. Right. So you just got to look at, for example, if I'm doing a welfare check and they need to make an intervention, that's called a Baker Act here in the state of Florida. Right. In New York, in Georgia, it's like a code 10 something. Right. So it's a little bit different from state to state. But ultimately, there is some level of that crosses over. Yes.
That's good to know. And basically just learning the verbiage for each state, and as long as you can pick up that stuff easily, I'm sure you'd fall right back into what you were doing wherever you were and be able to provide that assistance. I know Wounded Warrior Project actually advocates the peer support group very well. It's one of their bigger programs. And like you said, 2 years ago, you fell into Travis Manion Foundation by looking them up and getting a job with Travis Manion Foundation. They're not a peer support group, but what is the Travis Manion Foundation?
Yeah, so we are a veteran service organization named after a Marine that made the ultimate sacrifice in 2007, First Lieutenant Travis Manion, Naval Academy grad, class of 04. And what we do is we're very much, I had this conversation earlier with somebody, there's a difference between, I like to call us a veteran empowerment organization, right? Because, we are empowering our veterans and families of the fallen to go develop character and future generations, right? So we're not an org that hey, I want to come join so I can just get my T-shirt and run out the door, right? Kind of check the block, that's not who we are, right? So if you want to have that continue having to find that purpose and being a citizen in your community rather than just a civilian in your community, and you don't need a uniform to be of service, right? Come reach out to us. We have a phenomenal youth mentoring program called Character Does Matter, powered by Under Armour Freedom. We have our service projects that we do in honor of a fallen hero, which we call our Op Legacy service projects, right? So if there's anything that I say that what we are is we're a community at the end of the day, right? So you come in, you do the programming, but you're connected to a broader range of like-minded individuals, right? So there's so many incredible people like you, like Chris, like Jason, so many people that I've worked with and other volunteers that I've been blessed to have in my circle with doing this job, seeing those leaders get after it and then seeing that transition with those veterans that they come in new, right? They're hey, I don't know if I could do this. I haven't done any of this since I took off the uniform. They're kind of like trying to figure that thing back out. And then once you give them that empowerment that hey man, you're the one, your experience brings the content to life for our youth. Yeah. You served in the Army, what leadership is, man. Now bring that content to life for these next generations of leaders. And once they do that and they feel empowered, we see that they have positive effects across their mental health and well-being. So although we don't promote ourselves as a clinical intervention organization, because we're not, right, with the programming, it improves their mental health and well-being. And doing that, it prevents veteran suicide. Because again, you got that community, you got that empowerment, you're leading into your strengths and giving back to your own community. And you don't need a uniform to do that. You see that doing all those things adds up, and we're fighting veteran suicide and doing that as well.
Definitely. You mentioned Op Legacy. This Saturday, we're going to do our Op Legacy for Martin Luther King project this Saturday instead of last Saturday, thanks to the snowstorm, the snowpocalypse. We'll be collecting Valentine's cards so that teachers don't have to go out of pocket, so every kid can give out Valentine's Day cards. It's something that started our chapter, and it's the project that started our chapter, and we keep it going every year because it is such a much needed thing in our times that where so many kids are economically disadvantaged. So we try to help as many as possible so that they can have that smile on their face. That's just one part of Travis Manion Foundation. Like you said, we, as a chapter, it builds that camaraderie. Like Chris and I and Harriet and Sarah, we started this over eating at Drake's, eating some tater tots and chicken wings. And we started this chapter just on a wing and a prayer. And we got that following. And now Chris and I have both been through SLP, which I'll let you explain SLP here in a second. But have you seen other chapters like ours, just grow from that grassroots, build that camaraderie, and just kind of keep those, I guess, those best projects and keep them going while also doing all the other great things that Travis Manion Foundation does?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give a shout out to our local chapter leader here in Jacksonville,
Yep.
Mike Horchak, also an Army veteran. Like, he graduated the leadership program, which I'll touch in here in a little bit. And he really took over the chapter and kind of led that initial charge to kind of revamp and revitalize this rich veteran community that is Jacksonville. Right. So with that, we have this past year, we had the 5th largest honor project here in Jacksonville National Cemetery in the country. We've done some events with the local Jacksonville Jaguars. Go Jags, I'm a big Jags fan. Did their salute to service, did their USO tailgate, doing a lot of stuff with our partners at Wounded Warrior Project. And our partners at Go Ruck, which are their headquarters here in Jacksonville Beach. So that's just an example of what a Spartan leader can do inside of a community.
Definitely. And so many other ways that Travis Manion Foundation is connected with other orgs, and like the Go Ruck organization, and within the community, the Wear Blue guys, Wear Blue organization, we connect with them for Wear Blue Run to Remember on their special days, and they come back and help us. Team RWB here in town is huge, so we're side by side with them in a lot of events where they do things kind of mirroring us to see if they can grow. And it's a form of flattery, I guess, to see how we can both do as much as possible within this community of veterans and our overall community. I think when Travis Manion Foundation started, it started as an idea with CDM, and the CDM, that portion of Travis Manion Foundation is what a lot of veterans really gravitate to. And I believe that even with my SLP class, when we got to that classroom in Houston, seeing everyone actually get to do the CDM live, not just on the virtual, you can see them flip and see the smiles and see them just be so overjoyed with seeing what they can tell they did for those children in those classrooms. Can you explain CDM a little in depth so more people would say, oh, I want to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point you bring up, Rich. So our Character Does Matter programming is a youth mentorship program, youth development program that is backed, so evidence-based, backed by positive psychology. And for those that don't know, it's a science that kind of gives you the opportunity to lean into your character traits that are unique to you, and how are you able to utilize said strengths, said traits to achieve thriving, right? So you're achieving thriving in many areas of your life. So we kind of utilize that science with the children, right? So we talk about our character traits, which there's 24 in total. So when we onboard that veteran mentor, we teach them a little bit about the background of positive psych, the traits, and how they're able to lean into their own traits and kind of, like I said earlier, bring that content to life for the kids, right? So you introduce a trait, you define it, you kind of ask the children like, hey, like, what does leadership mean to you, right? And it can mean so many different things, but, collectively, it's you're motivating your group to achieve a goal, right? So doing those little lessons from a young age, and then we make them do a activity inside the classroom with the veteran. We go over a fallen hero, which is very important. That's, serving Gold Star families is one of our major populations that we serve at Travis Manion Foundation. So always touching about that legacy piece, right? So touch on that fallen hero. You have your character and action story. So for some kids, like one of our character and action stories is Kylo Ren from Star Wars, right? So when the kids see that, they're like, oh, wait, he was a Marine? And we're like, yeah. So, you kind of see them kind of spark up and saying like, oh, that's the guy from Star Wars. So you kind of connect all that, right? Because we want to make sure that the content is, it appeases the youth audience as well. And it could be utilized like for that veteran to bring to life. So in a nutshell, that's the programming. We do work with youth audiences from elementary all the way to college aged, even active duty military or lower enlisted personnel, that E1 through E4 demographic. So we're in elementary, middle, high school, after school programs, YMCA. So you name it, we're there. And it's really our volunteer mentors that are out there, like, executing the mission and pouring into that next generation of leaders.
Definitely. And I like that you brought up Kylo Ren, because that's something they can relate to, something that they've seen in the first 3 Star Wars that they believe are the last 3, but for our Star Wars geeks, it's the first 3.
Yeah.
But they understand now that that's someone that, as a hero to them, was also a Marine. Not only are they learning leadership and values based off of his story, his character in action, now maybe they might become a Marine, or they might choose to serve now just because of that one CDM lesson. And that's amazing that little piece can be there. And having Kylo Ren as a living character in action is amazing, because a lot of the veterans we use in there have passed that we talk about their character in action. But then, of course, there's a lot more that are unknown or not movie stars now that we talk about that. Oh, that guy did that. That's great. Wait, Kylo Ren, that's my man. So
yeah,
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you do a lot of them. I know you've hosted a lot of the virtual ones for us. You take a lot of your time doing that and getting us in there, roping us in there and gathering us like cattle on the Zoom, so we're on time and scheduled correctly, because those teachers that are in those classrooms, or the mentor that's in the classroom, has a hard enough job keeping them kids focused without us not being on time. So that's a great job that you guys do with the virtual side of it as well.
Yep. Shout out to our Spartan leader, Jackie June, out in Tampa, Family of the Fallen there, and the Braden River Middle School and Miss Beach specifically. She's we've been there for 3 years now, and she'll be retiring after 30 years in public education in May. So we're trying to enjoy the time that we have left for her. She's a phenomenal teacher.
30 years in public education, that's a blessing. Wow, a big heart. That has to have a big heart to do that. And a lot of patience, very much a lot of patience.
A ton.
We talked about the 24 strengths. Most people have the top 3. What are your 3, Manny?
So love of learning, leadership, and teamwork is my top 3.
Nice.
So yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. No, just very natural to who I am. Like when people take the test, the strengths kind of fluctuate depending on the season of life that you're in, right? So I could tell you a prime example, like kindness is in my top 5 now, but you backtrack 10 years ago when I was, a newly promoted sergeant, and we're gearing up for the field, and it's just like go, knife hand in face, get out of my face type thing. I don't think kindness would have been in my top 5 then. Right. But what I tell people is, like, are there moments where you have to lean into your lesser used strengths and pull it out in those moments? Like, when a soldier comes to you they have an issue going on at home, right? That's where the kindness will have to come in and show that to that person. So it's very unique how these strengths fluctuate and how they manifest in our everyday lives. So I really enjoy touching on everything when it comes to strengths.
That was the question I was going to lean into, but you answered it about taking the VIA test there and seeing that every time you take it come up, your top 5 can be totally different. I think for me, my top 5 is 3 have stayed the same within the top 5. They just bumped up positions. And then 2 kind of flip that in and out. Like leadership, a lot of people get mad when they take their character strengths test and see that leadership is in their top 5. But it's based off what you're answering at that time of life. But it might still be in your top 10. And it's still one of your strengths. It's just not your top strength. You still have leadership in there. You might have emotional intelligence or social intelligence or humor, or I think zest is one of Chris Lancia's one of his favorite ones to talk about. And you might have some weird one that you never heard of, and it's in your top 5, and it throws people back when they see that. Have you noticed that when you've seen people take it for the first time?
Oh, 100%. I worked with a naval unit here in NAS Jax last year. I want to say last summer, and I had a Navy commander, so an 05, take the test, and he's like, "Hey man, I think this test is broken." I'm like, "Hey sir, what do you mean?" He's like, "Leadership is number 20 for me." And he's like, "I've been commanded multiple warships and this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, like let's pause right there. So leadership is your 20, but what is your top 5? And then his top 5 was teamwork, honesty, humility, kindness, and I think prudence, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, do you not think that those characteristics make a great leader? And then once that reframe hit, he was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, like that makes sense, because at certain levels, obviously, when it comes to leadership, the more you move up, there's a lot more trust and delegation that occurs, right? So you're not directly the boots on the ground leading your team up the hill, right? But at those higher levels, once I did that little reframe for him, it's like, hey, like you got subordinate leaders that are executing the boots on the ground. So if you have all those traits, they all blend into what's the end state, right? So a lot of people do get that mixed up, but it's I enjoy talking to strengths about people all the time.
Outstanding. And in your position, you get to work with not just us crappy old veterans, young veterans, or angry veterans. You also get to work with the survivors of the fallen, and you get to work with inspired civilians. How does that feel every day, knowing that you get up and do that stuff?
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing for me, because you go back 5 years, once I was toying with this idea of like, what's my next chapter will look like, right? And a lot of us are off the bat like, oh, I'm a veteran. That means I want to stay working with veterans, which is natural, right? It's a still worthy cause. But then coming to TMF, it's like, hey, we not only serve veterans, but we serve our Gold Star families, surviving families, and we work with a ton of inspired civilians. So I was kind of like, whoa, this is new for me. I haven't done that. So, but last week I was on a survivor expedition in Puerto Rico with 12 Gold Star families, man. And it was my second year doing that. And it's one of the few times I get to do that with our CEO, Ryan Manion. And it's just a blessing, because, you're hearing their stories. You're hearing who their loved ones was, right? And how they're honoring their legacies through the work that they're doing and the service that they're doing with TMF. And even outside of TMF, like what they're doing in their communities, but also they're cementing their own legacy that sometimes we forget, right? So yes, they're honoring their loved one's legacy, but what are they doing for themselves as well? And, it was just beautiful seeing 12 individuals come as strangers on day 1, and then seeing them leave as a tight-knit family on day 8. So, being a staff member, obviously I'm not a survivor myself, but I've had lost battle buddies in service. You kind of feel that connection with them, right? And there was a couple of young men on that trip, like 20, 21 years old. So when you see how old they are and the date of sacrifice of their fathers, like they were infants, like 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 years old and then you see the age of their fathers, like, man, like this person wasn't that much older than I was. So you kind of put things into perspective. It's like, man, like we are blessed to live the life that we can for those that couldn't. And we stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So seeing those young men in action, seeing the surviving spouses out there, surviving sisters and brothers out there, like getting after it, like to me, it was just a blessing, and always leaving like with my cup filled after those trips.
And getting to go to Puerto Rico to do it is that's a blessing too. It's a beautiful island, and guys are still cleaning up from Hurricane Maria. I think a lot of the damage you guys are cleaning up from down there. And I think we talked about this in Houston, because I go there every December for my vacation, and I still see the damage there, and the people still struggling, and but they don't complain about it. They go about their lives like this is just what it's supposed to be. And then when a team like TMF comes down there with the survivors and maybe helps fix a roof or build a gazebo outside a house, rebuild something, that brings so much joy to that family that you can't even measure that with that time you're there, because after you leave, them singing the praise of TMF just goes on for months, probably over years.
Oh, 1000%. One of the houses that we worked on this past year, last week, it was one of the same houses we worked on last year. We just came back to finish something up that we couldn't finish. It's interior paint, but the homeowner last year, like, she was just so grateful that we're painting her house and plugging some holes in her roof that she cooked for all 20 of us. So literally like a full meals, like unbeknownst to all of us, right? So, fast forward to this year, we come back and we find out that it was the day that we saw her was a month that her daughter had died from cancer.
Oh, wow.
On that same day, and her dog had died, and then her husband was in the hospital. So there's all these things that compounded, and it's like she's like, you guys being here right now is a blessing. So, we wrapped around her, we did the work. And even despite all these things that she had going on, she still had a smile on her face. She still cooked for us. Like, she still did all the things when she really, we're like, hey, like, you don't have to do these things. But that's just who that they are, and
culture,
and character, the culture of the of the Puerto Rican people. So it was a very rewarding trip.
I forget how to say it in Spanish, but I was sitting on the beach there, and a fellow veteran sat next to me. I had no idea who he was, and he sat next to me. He had his cooler of beer, and he kept offering me beers. I said, bro, I can't take it, man. And drink all your beers. And he told me, if I have it, you have it. And he said it in Spanish, and I was like, huh, we don't think like that on the mainland. That's a great thing to say. And he just kept handing me beers, of course, and it was a good day, real good day. Me and him talking about veteran stuff and going through our memories and stuff. His name was Miguel, great dude. But you don't see that if you go to a beach, say in Jacksonville or anywhere in the mainland of the state. You won't see someone say, just, if I have it, you have it. No, if I'm giving it to you, you're paying for it somehow. So that's something way different on the island. So it's amazing. I love it there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a couple questions from the audience that popped in here. This is from Kim J65. How did your time as a military police soldier shape your approach to leadership today? Thank you, Kim J.
Oh man, that is a awesome question. So I would say that being an MP, we're dubbed as multi-purpose, right? Because you're not only dealing with leadership challenges as an active duty soldier and as a team leader, squad leader, but you're also dealing with the population on base, right? So you're responding to different calls, different issues, DUIs, domestics. There's so many different types of calls that you respond to as a MP. That kind of shapes your way of thinking and how you take charge and how you approach difficult decisions where you have to make split-second decisions, right? So I think that really all-encompassing, it just really helped with like the leadership approach that you take, because the same approach that you take for one situation or one call cannot be the same for another. And when you flip the lens on leadership, it's the same thing. How you approach one soldier with an issue is not going to be the same when you approach another soldier with a different issue, right? So you have to kind of like make sure that you're fluid with that, and I've taken that with me to this day, right? So how I approach certain leadership challenges with one instance will be kind of different how I approach it with another one. So just kind of remain fluid, but that was a great question.
Outstanding, thank you, Kim J65, for the question. Next question is from Sam Jin True. Why is a love of learning such a critical character strength for veterans transitioning out of service?
Another great question. The day that you stop learning is the day that you stop growing, right? Yeah. So you have to be a sponge, especially when you're taking off that uniform, because unbeknownst to us and our ego, we might know, we might think we know everything when it comes to that, right? But when in reality, when you step out into that arena, like you're no longer your rank and your last name, you are you, the individual, right? So like there's so many things to learn. So I think for me, that was natural. I learned so much in such little time, forcefully. Right. I didn't make my transition easy whatsoever. Right.
None of us do.
I looking back now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have known about Wounded Warrior Project, about other transition services, Hire Heroes USA, TMF, Team RWB, Team Rubicon. Like, I wish I knew about hey, they offer services specifically for me. They're gonna give me a career coach, help me negotiate, help me my LinkedIn. Right, like all those things, like we don't know coming out, right? We just know the basics that TAPS gives you, but outside of that, it's on you to learn all these things and know that you'd be surprised of how many people you could just shoot a message out to on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm a transitioning service member. I see you're working in the IT field. do you mind sharing some of the things that you did that's successful in your career, right? And you'd be surprised of how many people will take the time to kind of give you the quick rundown, like, hey, if you're interested in IT, here's some certs I recommend you doing. Here's some orgs that can help you with that. Bop, bop, bop. Hey, actually, here's my number. Give me a call at 8:00 tonight. Let's chat it up, right? You'd be surprised like how that is. And I get that all the time. And I did that too coming out. So you can never stop learning because you never know what information's out there.
Definitely. You hit the nail on the head there. LinkedIn, I like to tell people, if you're not LinkedIn, you're linked out. It's the easiest way to network. You can ask a question on there and you'll get an answer from someone that you never thought you'd ever hear from or never even heard of. They're more than willing to help you. And Veteran Mentor Network on LinkedIn is a huge pool of experts, mostly from the civilian side, that want to help veterans as they do their transition, whereas knuckleheads come out and hardheads like myself, I can do everything myself. I know what I'm doing. I've done this for so long. And then you jump in there and they're like, oh, you're doing that way wrong. That is not a resume you have. You might want to check this out. And you start taking that knowledge and say, wow, maybe I should have listened to them all along. I would have been doing so much better now. And just having that overall network in there. I mean, me and you were connected on LinkedIn, but we know each other. But then you have somebody two down from you that I've never met before that could possibly help me. And the same on my side for you. You might have something you need that someone in my little corner of that network is able to do for you. And all you got to do is reach in there and say, hey, I know Rich, and I think you'd be able to help me out. And most people will say yes.
100%.
Next one is from Ron for Justice Warrior. What lessons have you learned working with veterans, Gold Star families at the Travis Manion Foundation?
Yeah, great question. I think I touched about it earlier. It's the being a veteran, working with other veterans, right? There's so many things that come to it, right? So it's like, hey, like, what are your interests? What are you looking doing? Like, how can I empower you to lead into your strengths and kind of let them know, like, hey, you don't need a uniform to continue being a service to other people and those in your community. Here's one of many pathways that you could take to lean into your strengths and lean into your experience and bring things to life, right? And then with the Gold Star families, like, I don't know about you, but as a veteran, and then losing my friends, you attend the memorial, you talk to the family for a little bit, but then life continues, the mission continues, right? Like, everything doesn't for the service member, it keeps going, but for that family is different, right? Yeah. I know there's like this rule, this 6-month rule that they have, that you're not able to talk to the family while they're grieving, understandably so, right? But like after that, like if you weren't like that person's best friend, really, like, you don't really know much of their family thereafter, right? So kind of navigating that was kind of difficult for me in the service, but then coming out, you see, like, these Gold Star families, like, they're just out there, like, wanting to continue serving. Their resilience is unmatched. Like, I've never met a demographic of people that have gone through the most profound loss that one can go through, and they still show up day in and day out willing to serve, right? So I think that right there is just so unique and a blessing in itself that, never met more resilient people than our Gold Star families. And it's an honor to serve them and helping honor their loved ones' legacies.
Definitely. And the head of our TMF is a shining star of that right there, Ryan Manion. Her and her family, when they started this, was not long after we lost Travis Manion. And they did this out of their heart, and they put this program, this foundation forward because of their love of people and the love of what he did and why he did it. And that's the shining light. And then now you guys on the staff are able to add that to those families as they are still trying to, some of them are still rebuilding, and they went through that sudden loss that first. They know that could happen, but that sudden loss is still a kick in the chest. I don't care who you are, it's a kick in the chest. And probably more than 90% of them was a sudden loss, and it wasn't something that was prolonged. So get people like yourself and Jason and everyone else on the team that are able to reach out and touch someone, and sit and just listen to them, or go on the expeditions with them and hang out with them and rebuild things and listen to their stories. Maybe you're just standing in the background, listen to them talk to each other as they vent and let themselves breathe again and talk. That has to be a monumental feeling for you guys, and a feeling of amazement as you can see them grow right in front of you.
No, 1000%, absolutely. And like, one of our surviving families out in Tampa, Jackie, her husband was an MP as well. So I felt like even more connected,
Right.
because we have our own military police memorial on Fort Leonard Wood. So I'm like, hey, like I need to get your husband into this memorial.
Right.
Right. So I kind of made some phone calls, got a brick, and he has a brick laid there. So that memorial's for all MPs, past and present, that made the ultimate sacrifice. They have a little brick with their info on there and a little star next to it. So it's just beautiful seeing our Gold Star families thrive.
And that's right outside the actual schoolhouse, isn't it? The memorial. Yeah.
So it's right by the museum. If you're familiar with Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh yeah. I had some hatred there. Yes. Our next question is from a longtime listener, great friend of the show, Mr. Chris Lancia. Please walk through the importance of service members getting involved in their community while still on active duty to build a network and sense of belonging as we transition.
That's a great question, and shout out to Chris Lancia, the next governor of Tennessee here next week. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think those that are on active duty that you see at networking events, volunteering with community organizations like TMF, Team RWB, Team Rubicon, I would say like they're ahead of the power curve, because when I got out, I had zero awareness of these orgs, right? So prime example, I'm in the MBA program with an active duty Marine, one of my classmates, and he's already like out there doing all these transition programs. He came out to my veteran networking event last night and talked to somebody that owns a business that he's looking for entrepreneurship and business consulting gigs. I'm like, dude, like you're getting after it, man, and you're still a year out from retirement. So it's like, it's so important because they could be aware of the network, what organizations exist to help them, and what avenues that they want to take. Because say they want to go into business and that's just not their thing, right? They got enough time to pivot and go do something completely else. Like I use myself as a prime example. I was law enforcement. So many people thought like, you're dumb for not going to law enforcement. You have all these credentials, all these things. It's a very seamless transition to do law enforcement on the civilian sector. But guess what? That's just something I didn't want to do anymore. So I needed to pivot. So, if you're on active duty right now, go and look up local resources, connect with me, other organizations, because it really gives them like a foot ahead on what's out there for them.
Chris, thank you for that question and making Manny dig into the toolbox to answer the question and share his journey there. So that was awesome. Thank you, Chris, again for hanging out with us, and thanks for hanging out earlier with me. Manny, one more question from the audience, then we'll start to wrap this thing up. This is from Jerry Was Right. What advice would you give veterans searching for purpose after the military? Great question.
Oh, man. Find your tribe, find your community, because, the military does a great job of embedding you and institutionalizing you with so many people off the bat. Day one, for men, like we're all getting our heads shaved. Like all of us are the same, right? And you're doing everything together. So you're out there, like for me, for example, for Learn Wood in the winter, I'm freaking low crawling in the fire pit with snow all over my face. But at 2 a.m., but it's not just me. It's so many other people, right? So when we take off that uniform, we sink into that isolation and we go into those dark places, because all of that is ripped from you once you get that DD-214. Like once I got my DD-214, like poof, there goes 10 years off the bat. Hey, like you're no longer Staff Sergeant Vera. It's like, oh man, like what am I going to do? Like, find your tribe, like, because there's a community out there for you. And it doesn't even have to be with other veterans. It could be like your local pickleball club, whatever that may look like for you. Just know that for us as humans, like we need that connection, especially with those veterans. Like we bled with one another. So getting out, find your tribe, whatever that may look like. And obviously, if you want to come serve with TMF or other great organizations out there, come do so, because at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, we are a community, right? We're here for one another. We're like-minded. We understand each other, and we can help each other and support each other through that growth and that post-transition.
Definitely. And in most communities, you'll find a TMF chapter or someone who's been in line with TMF. So if you see someone wearing a shirt like Manny's wearing right now, just walk up and ask them, what is TMF? What is Travis Manion Foundation? And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be someone that is overjoyed to tell you about them and tell you about their journey with TMF. And next thing you know, you'll be hosting an event somewhere and having a great time. So that's my challenge to you out there. Manny, as we start to close out, I ask my guests usually 2 questions. The first one is, what's the best way to get in contact with Manny if anyone that's listening live tonight or on the recorded version when that comes out wants to get in contact with you? Maybe just chew your ear off and maybe find out some more stuff about TMF, your journey, or even have you on their show.
Absolutely. You can only find me on one platform. It's LinkedIn. That catches a lot of people by surprise, by the way. But Manny Vera on LinkedIn, shoot over a connect, shoot over a DM, whatever you want to look into the nonprofit field. What is Travis Manion? How can I get involved? Pick my brain, please, use me as a resource. So Manny Vera on LinkedIn. Also, my email is manny.vera@travismanion.org for anybody wanting to connect on that avenue.
Outstanding. And it's going across the bottom of the screen for those of you watching it tonight or who will watch it later on YouTube. And it will be in the show notes for those of you who get this on audio later. Reach out to him. The worst he can do is say, I don't know, but point you in the right direction. Manny, last question. This one's the harder one. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
I would say lead with kindness, humility, and an excitement for life.
Nice. 3 good ones. Manny, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to finally come on and biting that hook and saying, yes, I'll do it, brother. It's been great having you on here. If you ever want to come back on, you have great updates you want to send in to us, we'll post them up here. I'm going to promote Travis Manion Foundation on here as chapter lead here in Clarksville, as an SLP graduate, and as a brother to you here. Even though I'm chemical, you're MP, so I won't hold that against you, but I'll hold you with me as a brother in arms. Thank you again for hanging out with us tonight.
Rich, thanks for the opportunity, my brother. So, awesome platform. Thank you for what you do and giving our veterans that voice. So thank you, my friend.
All right, brother. As me and Manny talked about earlier, we talked about 988. We talk about it here all the time on this show. Tomorrow is 100% better with you in it than it is without. Do not hesitate to pick up that phone, dial 988, take option 1 if you're a veteran, or follow the prompts if you're not a veteran. We need you here with us. People love you. People want you here. If you don't want to dial 988, in your wallet, I've told you to keep that 1-inch piece of paper with 3 names on it. Dial those 3 names. Call them. They want to hear from you too. And you can probably make their day as well. Keep reaching out to people. If those don't work, contact us. info@themisfitnation.com, Steven@themisfitnation.com, or Jake@themisfitnation.com. We will answer you. We'll keep you on the line until we get someone in your area that can help you and make you feel better about everything going on in life. Until next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.